Welcome to the Simply Luxurious Kitchen, made here at Le Papillon in my home kitchen, inspired by what I find in my garden, the local farmers markets, and meals I enjoy while out and about. Join me as I share seasonal fare to elevate the everyday meal.
And welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make a dessert that is classic French recipe.
This season is all about adding simple touches of flavor to elevate favorite French recipes. And most importantly, discover how to enjoy stepping into your kitchen. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Simply Luxurious Kitchen, and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make one of my, well, it involves an ingredient that I really like, and then I added hazelnut to it, kind of started playing with some different recipes, and well, I have a hazelnut tart or hazelnut bar tart that you're going to love, and it again is very simple to make. So let's get started. So you're going to want to find or get raw hazelnuts or already roasted hazelnuts unsalted, because you're going to have 1 cup or want to have 1 cup of roasted hazelnuts or filberts. Here in Oregon we are known for these filberts and also known as hazelnuts. You can mix up the nuts. If you don't have hazelnuts, it's okay. You're also going to want 2/3 of either roasted walnuts or roasted almonds, and I'm going to use almonds. Now, what we're going to do with those are put them in the filling and also have them for the topping. We're going to basically add caramelized sugar on top of them. I know. And so that when you bite into this lovely tart, it's going to be like biting into a candy bar that has a nice little nutty crunch to it with a lot of chocolate. I've been melting 1/3 cup sugar over here on the stove. And while that finishes up, now what I want to do is get a pan and line it with parchment. Nothing fancy. You're not going to be baking anything else. Because what you're going to do, yep, it's almost ready, is put all of these almonds and hazelnuts, a cup's worth. I have more than a cup there. A cup worth of hazelnuts, 2/3 cup of roasted, they're both roasted, of almonds. Because what I'm going to do is pour this over the top. And that's going to add that crunchy extra something sugary special to the insides and the tops of this tart. So we're going to add this, and we're going to pour it over the top here. There's a little bit of everywhere, get some of it as it can. Because it's going to harden very fast. Get all of it out. Okay. I'm going to leave that here actually while it cools. Now I'm going to leave the nuts and the caramelized sugar there to cool as well, because we want it to harden. We want it to get to kind of like a brittle. It's going to become very much like a, well, it is going to become praline. So we're going to leave that there. And while that is cooling, we're going to make the crust. So we're putting our tart into a pan, whether square or rectangular, that we can slice into bars. I like that better. It's very much like handing out candy bars or bite-sized candy bars. So that's what I prefer. All right, so using a food processor, you want 1 1/4 cup flour. You want 2 tablespoons of sugar, and you want 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cacao or cocoa powder. And this is what's going to make the crust look like chocolate. It's not going to look like a traditional tart crust. So 2 tablespoons of that. Make sure it's high quality as well. Okay? You do want to be generous with the salt, so I went 3/4 teaspoon of fleur de sel. Seems like a lot, but again, you're bringing out some lovely flavors. The savory and the sweet. So we have all the dry ingredients. Now we're gonna add a 1/2 cup of unsalted butter. Just 1 stick. Chilled is best. Okay, and we're gonna pulse it until it's loosely like pea sizes. And you can hear it too, there's no clumps in there. Yeah, perfect. Now you want 1 large egg yolk instead of water. There we go. Check this out. Now all you have to do now, you actually don't have to chill the dough. You're just gonna take it out. Come on out, there we go. And you're gonna press it with your hands into the tart pan. I'm gonna use those egg yolks later. And believe it or not, if you don't butter this down or prepare it, it will come out just fine. But if you want to be safe, you could absolutely rub some butter on it, on the sides, and prepare the pan. I like the removable bottoms because it's easier just to push it up and out. But I honestly have never had to prepare my tart for this recipe, and it comes out fine. So you want to evenly place the dough throughout the pan because you're going to push it up the sides. Okay, and save a little extra. Oh my gosh, it's so good. All right, I'm going to just use your hands. Press it in. It is good chocolate. That is the key. Get high quality cacao. Notice I only had to use 2 tablespoons, so you're not even using that much. So go ahead and go buy yourself some really good cacao. This is one of my favorite chocolate brands. It's from San Francisco, Schaffenberger. Highly recommend it. I use it for my hot chocolate. I use it for any baking. We're going to use it for this recipe as well. But there are others as well. And the reason you don't really want this chilled is because it's easier to use or press down into the pan. And that's also what makes preparing this dish so very easy. Push it up the sides though. You do want your sides. And you don't want it too thick. You want this to be mainly chocolate and nuts. Well, I guess it's chocolate in the, in the crust. But you can always move this dough around, which I love. So I have a few extra pieces for my corners. Get those corners in there really nicely. Norman's taking a nap over here while I'm in the kitchen. We have a nice dessert tonight, huh, Norman? Well, I do. He won't get any of this, but he'll get a nice dinner. We're doing all right. We're hanging in there, going on lots of lovely fall walks. Just make sure it's all the way up on the edges because you want the chocolate to be able to come all the way up. Okay, beautiful. Okay, now you could put this in the fridge now while you're making the chocolate, but you don't have to. It's going to go in the fridge for 3 to 4 hours before you enjoy it anyway. But I'm going to put it there just to get it out of the way. The nuts are almost cooled and hard. That's awesome. But while it's almost done, it still has a few more minutes. And that's going to give me time to prepare the chocolate. So I want 9 ounces of dark chocolate, bittersweet chocolate, or semi-sweet chocolate. I actually use whatever I have in my pantry. So I have some extra dark, I have some dark chocolate, and I have some bittersweet. And I'm gonna mix all 3 of them. I've done all sorts of different combinations, and they all turn out great if you have high quality chocolate. Now this is predominantly the full bar, and it's 9 ounces, so I'll use that. But I am gonna put a little bit of semi-sweet in there, or excuse me, bittersweet, because I want a little variation. And that's where your taste can come in. Make it your own. Make it to the taste of whoever you're giving it to. Now, I actually play around with this recipe while we were pretty much locked down during the pandemic. And my neighbor was so kind, and he and I actually kept each other company just by talking while we gardened and over the fence and so on and so forth. He's next door, or was next door. He's since moved. And I would take over my recipes, because I would make, like that whole tart, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna eat all this thing. And I would take over some for him, and I did that for a few things. And he was always made me feel so good, because he always said it tasted so great. All right, so we put the chocolate in. We're going to put 1/4 cup of unsalted butter in, and we're gonna melt that. All right, the chocolate is nearly melted. Now what I've done with the chocolate, you can add espresso, and if I was adding espresso, I would add 4 to 5 tablespoons of espresso. You also, and I highly recommend this, add a 1/2 teaspoon of flaky sea salt. It just adds another element of layers of flavor. So that's melting, and it's almost done, as you can see. But now, while that is melting, we're going to take our nuts. Notice how it's pretty hard. We're gonna break it up, put it in our food processor. Not all of the nuts though. Just do about 2/3 of what you have in front of you. The rest are gonna be used on the topping. Actually, put all of them in, unless you want whole nuts on top. And then we're just gonna rough chop these. And again, you do want them rough chopped. And you're gonna add 1 cup and 2/3 to the chocolate when the chocolate's done. So now, before you add the nuts to the chocolate, you're gonna separate 4 eggs. Whites in the big bowl, yolk in a small bowl. There you go. 1. You're gonna whisk the egg whites until they're light and fluffy. Then you'll add that into the chocolate. Okay, your eggs are nice and white and fluffy. Now take your chocolate. You're not doing anything with egg yolks, so set those aside. And find a good spatula. And gently fold the egg whites into the chocolate. In a way, you're making mousse. This is really a chocolate ganache cake or a tart, and that's what kind of makes it special. Okay, fold it in. Now, pan might be a little hot with the chocolate, so just be careful. But you're just gently folding it in until it's all incorporated. There we go. Oh, it smells so good in here. It smells like chocolate. Oof, yum. Now add the nuts. Again, 1 cup and 2/3. Call these candied chocolates, or candied nuts, and 2/3, so that's 2/3. Mix that in. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. And It doesn't have to be so smooth. That's the key thing. This is a rough stick kind of chocolate tart. Okay. So now take your crust out. It smells like a candy bar in here. It does. It has that candied kind of chocolatey, nutty scent in this kitchen right now. Oof. And again, you're going to want to make this ahead of time, at least 3 to 4 hours before you want to serve it. But how simple, right? How simple. But it's really an easy one to make. I like to dress it with some nuts, just so people know what's inside. That's completely up to you. And again, they're not just any nuts, they're candied nuts. We'll put that in the fridge for 3 to 4 hours, and then you can slice it up and enjoy it. Here is a look at the finished tart that I enjoyed this summer. This very tart was shared and enjoyed with my neighbors. I shared it with, as I spoke about, my neighbor who I miss terribly, but so appreciate his friendship during the pandemic. And I also shared it with the young kids across the street because I could have eaten it, oh my gosh, all by myself, but I knew I shouldn't. I hope you enjoy your day, enjoy your food, and enjoy stepping into your kitchen. Bonne journée.